We're live, Dorothy. We were
Hi,
live
everybody.
before, but we were backstage chatting
We
and
were.
not paying attention. And we're going to talk for a second. But how's it going up in New England?
It's going good. It's going good. Today is an election day, especially
Mhm.
for local elections, just your local elections, and you should be paying attention because that's where it starts first. Not that we don't get overly political on this. You and Scott do that on Sundays,
Mhm.
and so we don't get overly political. But I'm taking a 2-hour lunch break on my duties as a poll worker, and I'll go back as soon as we're done.
If you want
So
to support
yeah.
democracy, go work the polls.
Yeah, it teaches a lot. It just gives you the inside. It's volunteer. Sometimes you get a little, you might get a couple bucks for the day, but it
Oh,
depends on
it's a cottage industry here in Dallas.
it
When
depends on
I
the city you live in here in New Hampshire. But I might get a little something, but I don't do it for that because you're there from 7
Mhm.
a.m. to 8 p.m. and even further for the other moderators. But the point is like it's just it teaches you the behind the scenes,
Mhm.
when people are always concerned about, voter fraud and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you, when I ask a person if, they have to tell me their name and address, and then I have to say it back, and then I scan it into the system so we know we're there, and they're like giving me a bunch of crap about it. It's like, that way you're not going to get to vote twice. You're voting once, and the rest of the time the machine will let you come back this time. So,
That's right.
it's just redundant, super redundant, but it works and it keeps things safe. So as far as the people go, and the human part of it, it's pretty straightforward, but it's a lot of redundancy. And it's quiet. It's not like a last one, which was November of last year.
Oh,
That
God.
was
The big ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have nightmares about that. It was so much work. Over 90% of our wards showed up last year. Right now, we'll probably have about 25% show up at this time for the local stuff. Your
Mhm.
school board, your town hall, your mayor.
Mhm.
Anyways, I know that's not why we're here, but that is why we're here.
Well,
We talk
we're
about
here,
life.
we're here, and we've got 11 hearty souls that want to know about what's coming, and we're at a very interesting time astrologically. Of course,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
on the phone to Dorothy constantly, and she
yeah.
can talk about this. But right now, where Mercury's doing its retrograde, and where Mars has been going over, and
All of
everything,
that stuff.
all these planets are dancing on top of my ascendant. And Lord knows, after last June, I don't want any more planets dancing on my ascendant.
No,
I want to have
no.
an ascendant, but
Right? Your
um,
ascendant is the same number as 28 degrees of Scorpio, and
mhm.
yeah, we have a lot of stuff going back and forth across that. So we'll talk about that wherever you want to start. So
Yeah,
where do you want to
I'll let
start?
you go because you know the stuff. I'll tell you the crap I've been hearing. First of
Okay.
all, I don't know if it's aliens running that thing that's going on the other side of the sun or
Oh,
whatever.
sorry,
But
I'm not paying attention to that.
you know what? What are you going to do about it? It's like that movie, Don't Look Up, when they knew that there was
Yes.
a thing. There's nothing you can do about it. So why don't we just wait
Hmm.
and let our own do what we can do each day to make the world a better place for ourselves and other people, and let the aliens do what they're going to do
Yeah.
if they're up there.
If they're up there, I know. I've watched a lot of other people and different readers throughout early November, when people do out their monthly forecast and they're like, oh,
Mhm.
by the third week in October, we're going to have aliens visit. And I'm like, well,
The
we're in
only
November now.
the only
I know.
person I trust about alien visits is Dr. Gale, and
Yes.
her current working theory is the way they're going to reveal themselves to
Hmm.
us is all of our hybrid and alien family members are going to take off their human meat suit. We're going to say we've been around you all the time.
Oh,
And I told her
okay.
I
I'm
don't know that
skeptical.
that's an
I
inclusion.
see. I'm skeptical about stuff like that. But if that's what, that's
Well,
okay.
it's an interesting talking point.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying anybody's wrong or right because I'm pretty liberal like that. If you didn't know, but Gemini, I'm kind of on the fence. They think Libras are like this,
Oh, Gemini,
equilibrium.
yeah.
Gemini's, we're like that too because we can see it's like the yin and the yang, the dark and the light.
Hmm.
You can see I can see both sides of it. And you can convince me of one thing and 5 minutes later talk about something and convince me of the other. And I can go, I can see valid points in both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes no, but I mean, I'm not a what's the word? I'm not a doormat, but sometimes you can see the back and forth of things. And so that's what anyways, if you guys don't know me, that's how I love to do my astrology, is a very Gemini way, meaning I just like to communicate as best I can in English, not astrologies, how to use everyday stuff for you and me. That's why I don't necessarily, that's why you and I, Nancy Jean, don't talk about the political part of the deeper pieces of astrology, because I mean, those are important and valid, but I like to just give the real people like me, like you, how do I use what's going on?
I mean, hopefully none of us are going to live our lives in the extreme. Some of them do. Plus, it's like I'll get people who will be asking me, read about what's going on around them for the next 6 months. Yeah. And they'll go, well, what about my mother-in-law? When's she going to get hers? And I'll go, when your mother-in-law calls me, then I'll tell her, right? It's like, for me, reading politicians at a distance isn't fair.
Because you don't know what, you don't know what's going on. You just really have no idea. And they have free will. I mean, you can see basically that there are certain things, and you can know that there are certain energies that, that are happening. And I'm going to tell you about them now, but there are certain energies that are happening that we're all under the umbrella of, right? And so depending on whatever is going on in the sky that the astrologer you're listening to is talking about, how that actually impacts you personally matters, because some things are bigger for other people than you or me, or vice versa. It varies. So that's why I like talking about Mercury retrograde. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, which I am. And so it's my favorite planet. But the energy is that how you just work on what's going on with the energy and what's going on in your own personal life. There you
Glitter Muse just said, you're reading energy, you're not judging. Yeah. And so much of what people want us to really judge people, and Lord knows I know not to do that. I've been around too long.
Yeah, I don't judge because, honestly, I mean, I've been doing astrology for such a long time, decades now. And in the beginning, I wasn't sure if astrology is fate. I still won't tell you that it's fate, because we're here to experience everything that our chart shows us, everything that our chart is. And you really need to dig in deep. I mean, pop astrology is fun, but it doesn't give you any depth at all. It's like the skin of an apple, right? There's no depth to pop astrology, even though it's fun. Okay, I'll listen to it. The astrology apps are fun, because sometimes the harder aspects, the things that might feel difficult, are meant to be, like the retrogrades, which we're going to talk about in a sec, are here for us to integrate, to slow down, to understand more, to learn more, because you can't just keep being face forward and just, all gas, no brakes throughout life. You can, if that's your path, but those are going to be the fire sign people.
That are going to be the friend you had that left at 16.
Yes, they just woo. And so the energy, I guess the point I'm trying to make as I go around the block here is like the retrogrades, which we're talking about Mercury retrograde today, and whatever else comes up, is not that it's necessarily a big, it doesn't have to be a big problem. There are opportunities to learn from this. Right. And we'll start with that, because what happens here is when Mercury does go retrograde on November 9th at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, let me tell you, first off, you'll see this in any of my writings, Mercury in Sagittarius is a couple of things. It's foreign travel. It's foreign travel, and it's about talking too much. Mercury is the communication planet, and Sagittarius is an abundance of, fill in the blank, whatever it is we're focusing on. So with Mercury in Sagittarius, it's there once a year for 3 weeks. Right now, we're going to get it a little longer because it's going to retrograde partially in this sign. And so we'll hit one of these at a time. It will bring up a lot of people really saying the truth. Sagittarius is about talking a lot, sharing a lot of information, teaching, learning. But I feel my intuition, after all these years, tells me that Mercury and Sag right now is going to give us, people are going to tell us the truth. We're going to hear somebody say something and we're going to go, did they really say that? Did they really say what is exactly on their minds? I've actually been seeing it already in some of our political figures.
Sagittarius does. My second husband was a Sagittarius. They do.
They say the truth. There's not necessarily a filter. If you feel filtered and you're Sag, then there's something else that's helping you to stay filtered. But I'm talking about the planet in the sky, Mercury right now, planet of information, communication, travel, things like that, in the sign of Sagittarius. Is it in Sag yet? In that sign, saying,
I think it is in Sag. I think it's moved.
I got my software right here. 2 secs. Yeah, it is in Sag right now. That's right. It's with Mars. The energy of that just represents, again, a lot of information. And so over the last few days, about the last 5-6 days, then we've been hearing stuff that it would just blow our minds. And we're just like, oh my God, did they really say that? Did they really say that? And it just blows your mind. And so pay attention to what's just streaming out of your mouth. Sometimes things just have to come out. You're having a conversation. Sometimes you just blare something out and you're like, oh, shoot, did I really say that? But it needed to be said. So that will happen too. Right. And it's once Mercury retrogrades on the 9th, I want you to pay attention because on the 8th and the 9th and the 10th, Mercury's stationary. It's not moving. It's like hitting the brakes in your car before you put it into reverse. You have to make a complete stop.
Okay. And is your observation that when planets are stationary, that's what you call it when they don't move, that they're more powerful?
Yeah, because it gets you to focus, especially the faster planets. So Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Now, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they all retrograde every single year, right? Mercury retrogrades 3 times a year. Venus and Mars are a year and a half and 2 years. So the point is like especially the faster ones, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, because they're always moving at such a fast clip. When they do station, it's an intense focus. Things will slow down and things will get misunderstood, especially with Mercury. So, and the whole reason I just went dialogue so long on Mercury and Sag about communication to begin with is because when it is stationary on the 8th and the 9th and the 10th, you will feel it. We will feel it. We'll know it. It'll be like, the news cycle moves so quickly these days, but there'll be something that really digs a hole for those 3 days. Now, so just put that down as a note. Just pay attention to what's going on around you, and you'll see the thing that you need to focus on. And that's what will show up. Now, another thing about this is like, I have some clients that check with me when they're traveling and they're traveling home from Europe on November 9th. And I'm like, that might be troublesome because we're still in this government shutdown. We're still with what are those guys? The air traffic controllers, and TSA, and everybody's sort of just like, I'm so tired of working for free. I'm gonna call out sick. I'm gonna whatever.
Yeah, the guy who runs them today announced we may not be able to stay open.
And that's exactly what I'm feeling. And whether you have plans on the 9th or the 8th or the 9th or the 10th, I feel, especially on the 9th, that it just feels to me like there is going to be more backups than we've already been experiencing. If there isn't a complete shut of something. Yeah, a big old roadblock of some kind, because Sagittarius represents foreign travel. So it's not domestic travel, but it doesn't mean domestic stuff isn't impacted, because it can be, of course.
If they can't get in, it doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. And so those are the things that I see. And then it is retrograde through November 29th. And on November 29th, it goes all the way back to 20 degrees of Scorpio. So with Mercury in Scorpio is definitely an intense period because it is about doing that inner work. You know what it's like because you have Scorpio at your horizon, your ascendant, and it creates a person who is very much about how things evolve throughout life and transform, and you help people do that. And it is that deep energy around, doing your shadow work. It's that time of year anyways, right? Scorpio time of year to go in deep, do your shadow work, do the stuff that needs to, you need to shine not a bright light on, but just shine a light. Scorpio can definitely be in dark. So it just brings things to the surface for us to process and dig through.
And people always say, oh, I want to be a light worker. I want to be a light worker. And I said, then you got to learn how to work with the dark.
You do, because light is
There's
light.
There's no way to define light without dark.
That's correct. Yeah. That's all we need to do right now.
That's right. And
just to shine our light.
Another friend's product here. If you are interested in doing shadow work and you like cards, and if you watch my channel, you like cards. And Dorothy didn't know she was pitching this, but the Shadow Work Pro Book, it's by Jeffrey Goldstein. You can get it online. You can get it either the hard copy. And what he does is he takes the basic questions that come up that are part of shadow work, and he gives you a card layout to look at it. And there's lots of space to write notes, which Dorothy's big on writing notes. Write down what you see.
I do.
And, oh my, I'm really like, well, what did you see when I don't remember?
Yeah, it's important to do that.
Because right now, what we're going through right now is so important to us to reflect back. Within a year or two, you're going to be reflecting back on this time in particular. I really feel that very, very, and with my whole heart and soul.
Yeah. And, and to add in the numerology here, because, not our own personal numerology, but just the year. So the global numerology 2025 is a 9. So that is, we've already been in a whole year of things breaking down,
getting rid of,
and I mean, it is just like, I don't know, Kali, it's just like everything just needs to break down and be destroyed. We're not meant to build on top of what is still evolving, just like the Tower card, right? And that's the number 9 year that we're in. We're just, some of us could just be tying up loose ends and doing a lot of stuff, but it depends on how it reflects into your personal year. So there you go. There's still always another layer.
Right. And it also depends on your temperament. I ran into a guy one time, I won't go into the whole story, but he was a waiter friend. He was a sommelier. And he said, what's going wrong with me? And I said, well, I don't know. Well, he cut his pony. He had a long man bun ponytail, which I think is the ugliest thing in the world. I was like, yay, that's fun. And he drifted between, he didn't drift between jobs, but he had like 3 or 4 part-time jobs that kept him going, but he wasn't going to tie to anything. Well, he finally decided to take the sommelier and the position at the winery of handling the wine that was produced there. And he was also going to help his father really get into his father's real estate business, which was repurposing old apartment buildings. And I said, well, that's great. I'm like, your life's picking a direction. What's going on here? And he was always the biggest flirt, drop dead gorgeous, but always the biggest flirt, lived on his tips, let me tell you. And he looked at me and he said, well, one more thing's happened. And I said, okay. And he said, I've met a girl. I said, you meet girls all the time here. What do you mean? He said, no, I think this is the one. And I said, great. And he said, yeah, but I've told you I never wanted to be with someone that had children. She's got a little girl. And I said, then take it slow because you don't want to hurt that child, But anyway, finally I looked at him and I said, honey, when's your birthday? His birthday was in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And when we did his numerology, he was going from a 9 to a 1. He did a whole 9 year in about a 1 month period. So.
Yeah, sometimes we just have to condense it, don't we?
we don't get the memo.
No, we don't get the memo. And that's a great story because, it just reminds you that just some things are evolving and changing. And now he's going to change his mind about something important. And you're right, take your time. Yeah. And whatever that looks like in your own personal story, and life circumstances, just understand that even with specifics, which we can't cover, get a reading, we can cover it there, but just know that 2026 is a one year. So when we get into January and we get into that universal year of one, that's when there are opportunities for new things to begin.
Right.
But when something's over and something's new, they overlap, right? So there is a period in between, you know, the end of one year and the beginning of another. I'm sure it varies from year to year, depending on other planetary indicators, but we're ready for something different to begin. And in, let me grab my other notes here, get the dates. They're in my head, but not always. In February 20th, to be exact, Saturn is when Saturn and Neptune make a conjunction at 0 Aries.
Those two together again. I don't want that band back together.
Let me tell you, I looked back. I had to go back hundreds of years, and the last time they were conjunct in the sign of Aries, but it wasn't at 0, it was at 11. 0 Aries is incredibly significant. It's the beginning. It's the I am. It's the beginning.
That's like New Year's on the Astrologer chart.
It is. And the last time they were together at 11 Aries was in March of 1703. So it was just a long time ago. None of us recall this. The last time they were actually conjunct in Capricorn was in 1989. So the thing is, when two planets come together, two big planets like this, two outers, it's a significant beginning. And the significant beginning of Neptune and Saturn conjuncting at 0 Aries is important, and it's a big collective change and a personal change for all of us, because every one of us has that number somewhere in our chart, and it is a period where we're going to begin something. We're going to feel courage. We're going to feel motivated to start, and motivated and driven to begin something fresh and new. So the years are overlapping. They will overlap. Stuff is still ending. New things are beginning.
Yeah, it doesn't. Things don't stop on a dime and start up, but you can feel them. You can feel them sinking away.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're me, and then everything stopped in June, and it's all different. But
I'm looking. If you see me looking over here, I have my live YouTube open, and I can't respond to anybody on my live YouTube. I'm sorry, because
okay. What did you want me to pull up?
Is it both of us coming up for both of us?
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same conversation.
Oh, not your live YouTube. No.
Yeah, my live YouTube. But thank you, folks, for being there. There's 7 people. Thank you, everybody. This is my first live.
We had 26, and there people aren't used to you being live. So
no, this is my first live like this.
Whip them into shape, Dorothy.
I'm gonna have to do this more often. So back to Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, because I'm honing in on this as something specific, because on November 20, we have a new moon at 28 degrees of Scorpio. And the cool thing about that is that this Mercury retrograde is going to go over 28 degrees of Scorpio 3 times. Right. And it does. And then simultaneously, we have, Mars. Yeah, I'll give you the dates. I wrote the dates down. Let me give them to you, folks.
Okay.
October 27. I know that's come and gone already. Mercury is the first time it's at 28 degrees of Scorpio. So it's a prelude to the new moon that will come up after this. So reviewing and recalibrating and just processing the deeper energies, like I've already mentioned, those things that are really coming to the surface for you, right? And so you meaning everybody.
Right. Dorothy sent me a note, because that's my ascendant. And she said, don't start a fight with anyone today.
Jesus. because the next event at 28 degrees of Scorpio was a few days before we're recording this, which was on November 2nd. That's when I sent you that email. And that would be Mars was transiting over 28 degrees of Scorpio. That would add, a lot of intensity for you, Nancy Jean. It's on your ascendant. So it's like, just, pick your fights or don't.
I'm already in. I'm already an old Irish angry lady. You don't
It's
want.
intense. It's intense. You want to stay away from that as much as possible. But on November 2nd, with Mars at 28 Scorpio, it stirred up that deep intensity. And 28 degrees of Scorpio is it's the end of the cycle. It's only one more
Mhm,
degree and we're at the very end. So it's important to pay attention to really what is ending. Okay, so on November 8th, so from this point forward, all basically all these planets that are in Scorpio have also been opposite Uranus and Taurus, because Uranus has shifted back to Taurus through its retrograde motion. So that will be November 8th.
mhm,
And so having all of these Scorpio planets over the last few days, so the first like 10 days of November, opposite
mhm,
Uranus in Taurus, it's just like things are shifting. It's about food, it's about
mhm.
money. The Uranus in Taurus at the end of Taurus is about the food that is not being issued to people.
Right.
Taurus rules food and money. Those are some of the basic things it rules, and it is being activated, and that's what we're seeing in the world around us. So if you have insecurities around food or money or stability, again, this Scorpio energy at the very end of Scorpio, these planets moving through the very end of Scorpio is activating the Uranus and Taurus, which is stirring up these insecurities. So do what you can to feel secure. Do what you
Mhm,
can to help. I clean my cupboards. I always buy extra every time I shop for years and years and
mhm,
years. Always, always. So I always have like months of food in my cupboards. Well, I was like, all right, I took half of it to food bank yesterday. It's
yeah.
like, and it wasn't, don't give people expired crap. Just they have a right to eat good food
No,
too.
we have a really good North Texas food bank. I've been
Mhm.
associated with them. I know they're really good with their money.
Yeah,
And I earned a little extra money. I got a couple of extra readings. So I'm giving a
mhm.
portion of all my readings to
Good.
them.
That's
And
fabulous.
because they can make 4 meals out of $1.
Let
Because,
me, yeah, I was going to say that too, Nancy Jean. It's like all food banks. I mean, I don't know the ones here in New Hampshire, but all food banks, I've helped out at them at times,
Mhm.
and you can give them anything you want, and that's fine. And you can look at their list and buy that too. But honestly, they can get like three
More with the
times
dollar.
more food with money because they get it at a super discounted rate. So whatever I buy for, $10, they can get for $3. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
So any of your food banks, just of course just watch them, not watch what you're doing, and just give money to the food banks, to anybody that is buying food like that has,
mhm,
that's official. So because it just that goes further than what you like. Here's some canned soup. Do what you want,
mhm.
but that just goes further. Just a
Right.
point of view, which is information to know about with all of these planets. Mercury retrograding. So back and
Mhm,
forth 3 times. Mars is there on November 2nd. All of this is opposite Uranus and Taurus. And then November 19th, Mercury will be there again,
mhm,
right? So it just stirs things up. On November 20th, and the reason I picked this was because of the Uranus position. But again, the new moon on November 20 is at 28 degrees of Scorpio. New moons always tell us that there's something new coming. It
mhm,
always gives us this opportunity because the moon, she's dark. So
mhm,
it's that dark moon. So it's, even though it's new, it's dark. It's like, okay, what happens? Where are we conceived? We're conceived in darkness,
mhm,
inside the womb. So take that, if you will, metaphorically speaking, and bring everything in that you've learned about through all of November so far until we get to the 20th and that new moon. And it's like, what do I want? What seed am I going to plant out of all of the trauma I've gone through, or the healing I've gone through, or the things that are just, I know that shadow work that I'm working on. I'm digging it up and I'm learning more about myself, and I'm
mhm.
letting things go. And then we get that new moon at 28 degrees of Scorpio. And that's that opportunity to take things a lot deeper, a lot
Right.
deeper. And that's why I really honed in on this. And there's still a little more, but because Venus gets there too. But let me get the time of day. Yeah, the new moon in Scorpio is depending on where you live. East Coast, it's at 1:47 a.m. on November 20. And West Coast, it is at 10:47 p.m. on November 19. So depending on where you live, it's one day or the other, but either way, it's in the middle of the night on the 19th into the 20th. So that's important. And to top all of that off, 9 days later on November 29, Venus comes through and activates 28 degrees of Scorpio and will be opposite Uranus then as well. Uranus doesn't move too far in a matter of a week. So it will then be opposite Uranus as well. And Venus and Scorpio, opposite Uranus, Taurus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So financially, something is going to shift here. If I was a betting person, which I'm not because I like to earn my money and spend it where I want, not lose it. But right around November 20th, there will be some sort of financial restitution of some kind. So, because that's what that shows us, that Venus in Scorpio, which is it's a financial thing. It's assets and finances and things like that. It's not like the money you earn, but it's money you invest, or in the case of like SNAP beneficiaries, it's that kind of money that comes through. Hopefully, it will come through before then, but time will tell. Yeah.
Well, that's just not a whole lot there, Dorothy, at all.
Can we exhale now?
Yeah, we can exhale now.
It's just a lot. There is a lot. I mean, it's crazy. It's a lot of work. But let me tell you, if you're here, you're meant to be here. You're meant to deal with it. It is something that really just gives us this period of an opportunity just to dig in. So there's more. I could tell you more if we were to look at it, but any questions so far? I want to see.
Actually, they're not asking questions. They're saying good afternoon and that they love this. And
okay, if anybody has any Mercury retrograde, we can go. The modern interpretation of this degree of Scorpio. First off, there's things called the Sabian symbols,
right?
And there is a meaning. They're all pretty mystical in a sense. There's a meaning for all 360 degrees. All right. And since each zodiac sign starts at 0, when we're talking about the 28th degree of Scorpio, it's actually officially the 29th degree. So just to clarify a little science, the 29th degree of Scorpio is an Indian woman pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. So I'm like, what the heck does that mean? So you got to interpret it in more modern just interpretation.
Right.
So it's about advocating for your family. It's about standing up for what matters. It's about community and social justice is really what it comes down to. It highlights the things, honest to God, what we're facing right now in the world, especially in this country. I mean, we can focus on all of it, but I'm just focusing on this country right now because it's just in a bit of an uproar. And so it's about that. And it's about if this woman is pleading to the chief of the tribe, for the lives of her children. I mean, this is like very political and people like standing up. It's like, do what's right.
It's like taking on the power structure.
Taking on the power structure. Thank you, Nancy Jean. That's a great way to say it. Yeah. And, this is the very end of the zodiac sign, that zodiac sign. So there's just one more degree after that. And, it's just gives us this opportunity to really dig in deep. So I feel that with November and all of these different activations of that 28th, 29th degree of Scorpio, it's really important for us to pay attention to what's going on around us and not just like shrug it off. It matters. It matters a lot. And so advocate where you feel comfortable doing it. Give money where you feel comfortable. Go vote. It's hard voting sometimes. It's hard to know who to trust anymore. Even when you listen to everybody, it's like, oh, I don't know. But that's just my personal observation.
No, I think it is. People are like, we used to have, of course, I'm old. I can remember when TVs had dials and you had four or five stations in the lower numbers, and if you had a really fancy TV, you had a UHF. So you
I
go
remember that.
you go to channel 33. I can remember the first color TV I ever saw.
Me too. It was the Wizard of Oz.
I know. And
when they go from when she opens the door when she's in Oz, it was like it was color.
That was one of the first color movies too.
I bet it was. I remember
it
that.
Was. I mean, and that was huge. But it's like, and I can remember when the phone was the thing that was on the end of the counter that had a long cord, and if you could maybe drag it far enough so your mother couldn't hear every word you were saying.
Oh, Mercury is so happy that we have planets in Uranus in Aquarius now, because we get really modern, modernizing everything.
I'm afraid my youth would have been much more difficult and much more astounding had we had cell phones, because my mom could have found me anywhere, especially when I found out people were like, don't you have your kids' cell phones on tracking? And I'm like, no, I had a mother that could figure out where I was.
An eagle eye. My mom didn't care.
This is an incident from my weird childhood. Oh, in my teen years, I was at a house of a boy I wasn't supposed to be seeing, and we watched my mother's very distinctive Dodge Dart convertible cruise by. Yeah, she had my mother went to get a car. She was going to turn 40 and she wanted to get a car. So she took her 16-year-old son. And David went with her, and she walked out of there with a dual quad super ram charged Dodge Dart engine, which is not an engine should ever have been in that car. It was so white with red leather interior, and it was a convertible.
Wow.
And she said, well, I wanted a convertible because I didn't want to wait till I was old and say, who's that crazy old woman in a convertible? I'd still be a crazy old woman in a convertible. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I drove that car at 127 miles an hour.
Wow. That's crazy.
Y'all are you should be so grateful I'm here if you like me.
Wow. Yeah. We're all just kind of pretty impulsive.
Who's interested in the full moon that's coming up in Taurus, because it's at 29 degrees.
Yeah, we have a lot of planets at the end of a lot of the let me grab my ephemeris here. Well, I don't know when that one is, but the full moon that we have on the 5th, which is tomorrow, is at 13 degrees of Taurus. So we do have that full moon. So that's pretty cool. That's just tomorrow after this recording. So
on top of my natal sun, Dorothy.
Just the top of your chart. Let me see. Let's get your chart back up.
It's like 10. I think I'm at like 10 degrees.
Of Taurus. Yeah. Oops, I don't have the chart up. That's the current chart.
In case you guys don't wonder, I do invite Dorothy on so I get my chart looked at.
Well, your sun is 12 Taurus. That's right. Yeah. And this is at 13. So it's between your sun and your Venus in house number 6. So pay attention to your health. And you are. And pay attention to your food.
Those in Taurus. Yes, I am.
Good. Yeah, that's good. So nothing to be concerned about. I don't know.
I always like kind of full moons near and around my birthday and stuff.
Yeah. I can get the lunar events right here. If everybody, I don't know if you can see if it's backwards, but the daily guides on Llewellyn Daily Guides.
No, that's not backwards.
It's not backwards. Good.
It's not
awesome.
Backwards.
So, get one for every year, and it shows you all the aspects, and it shows you all the full moons and new moons and eclipses, and just gives you day-to-day stuff. It's fantastic. Full moon is at. Yeah, this one's at 13 Taurus. The new moon on November 20th is at 12 Scorpio. The new moons that we do have coming up, because we had a few of the full moons, were at 0 degrees for a little while.
Yeah.
And things progress backwards. And so the next batch of full moons that we have, about 5 or 6 in a row, will be at the end degrees. So we have, for September, full moon, October, full moon, November, December, and the other ones are way over here. And they just, there's just a bunch of them at the ends. Yeah, Capricorn is at 28. Then we have an eclipse in February at 28, and Pisces at 28. So they're going to be all the way for almost a whole year, actually all the way until May. So from September through May, 2025 into 2026, the full moons are going to be at the last few degrees of each of the zodiac signs that they're in. And it's just the cycle of how they go. Right. And it just means that, we've had almost the whole month of the sun moving through whatever that sign is, just giving us big opportunities. So I like working with the balsamic lunar phase, which is 2-3 days before every new moon, because it gives you an opportunity to do just like I've described today. Take a deep breath, go in, spend time in, less time out, process, release, clear. It's just like, being on a camping trip for 3 days, and you come home and you just like, oh my God, I need a shower. I need really good food, that kind of a thing. It's just like spend time caring, nurturing, letting go of what isn't working, bringing it back in. That's what we do before the new moon.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of cleared out and you're ready ready to plant new seeds.
It is. And it sounds Scorpio. It sounds like Scorpio because we get this whole month every year. Well, the sun is in Scorpio and then other planets are moving through there. Gives us that time to do that once a year and clear out anyway. It's just like me clearing out my cupboards the other day. It's just like, all right, I don't need 7 cans of beans. I just don't eat that many. But I got them anyways, because every once in a while you just grab extra. And so that's the point. The Scorpio retrograde, Sagittarius to Scorpio of Mercury gives us that opportunity to, reel some stuff in, let some things go, process, do some shadow work, do some deep meditations, do any types of ecstatic dancing, anything that you like to do that helps you just like move that crap out.
Move the energy. Sitting with energy building up inside you is not going to help anyone.
Not going to help. Well, that's right. So there's a lot there. Whew. So, all right, what else we got? So,
what's going to happen in 2026? Everybody keeps saying it's going to be, we're going into a 1 year.
Yeah.
But what's the first big planetary movements in 2026?
I just mentioned it. It's the Saturn Neptune conjunction. Yeah. I'm prepping my year ahead lecture, but since Mercury's retrograde, I don't want to launch it while Mercury's retrograde.
I know.
But I might record it during Mercury retrograde, though. I used to do this with a colleague, a numerology colleague, and I used to do it in person all over the place. But she's retired from doing that with that piece. She's in her 80s now, so it's okay. It's not a bad thing. So I just do it as a lecture, and it will be on my website for sale. So, this is my living. So I will do that. Come to my website, get on my newsletter, all those things, because you get notified. I don't hammer people with a ton of emails, but you will get 2.
Dorothy. I put your little email for Dorothy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Just connect at DorothyMorganAstrologer.com, or you can just connect right through my website. Just go onto the website. Anything past the first page, a pop-up window is going to come up.
Also, your website is cleverly named Dorothy Morgan Astrologer.
I know. I changed it. It used to be New Hampshire Astrologer.
I know.
And it's still that behind the scenes because, you got to have your own brand. Nobody else has that brand. But the point is like, come and support Nancy Jean, support me. This is what we do.
Yeah, I'm doing year-end readings. I'm doing 12-month readings. I've got one right after this show.
Nice.
Matter of fact, the lady who's coming for it, I saw her in the chat. And
good.
I'm still working on my psychic profiles. I have to get my act together and get that rearranged. But I was being kind to myself since everybody decided to bomb my ascendant with their planetary powers. And
well, do some planning. This is for everybody.
No, I'm doing planning now.
Do the planning mode for November, and even though Mercury isn't quite retrograde at this recording, at this live, it's slowing down, and it's getting ready to to take that rest. And so just plan and just, what's the word? Scheme. It doesn't have to be a negative thing, but plan and scheme. It's a good Scorpio word, though. What you want things to look like when we come out the other side of it, and that's important. If you do initiate things during a Mercury retrograde, because I mean that's 3 weeks. Not everybody can just put pause on everything for 3 weeks. So if you need to start stuff, that's fine. It will just have a slower get up and go. It'll just take a little extra time. But if you're going to do it during retrograde, at least make sure the moon is waxing, because you don't want everything against you.
Well, no, I'm going to be rerunning I did Advent crystals last year. I did them from the 1st of December to the 25th.
That's right. I remember that.
You were on that, Duro.
I was.
Yeah, well, you're going to be on again, but you're going to be here later.
Sounds good.
But I'm going to be rerunning all of those 25 shows, because I've had people ask me, well, I want more information about crystals. And I thought that was some of the best, broadest base, because kind of random, want to know about a crystal. Here's one for the day. None of them were all that long. And it's a good thing to have in December when we're looking for something to look at. Yeah.
Yeah. For real. There's a whole bunch of people here.
What are you people saying?
I'm looking at what they're saying. It's just people talking about just announced the snap is going to be on until the government and shutdown ends. Yeah, I know. I saw that too. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Except he can't do it. They just announced they're going to do it, but they can't.
Yeah.
If the money's there.
He announced about an hour ago that he doesn't care.
Well, he doesn't care, but the people who are there care. And there are people who are looking over their shoulders because they're realizing that man's on some sort of life support system. You can see it under his jacket. That's probably making his heart beat. And speaking of people whose heart used to be run by machines, Dick Cheney left us today, and he used to be run by a machine. So don't believe it. I mean, and the other thing is, in a lot of places, people are stepping up. I
love that, Nancy Jean. I saw that too.
I saw one food bank that they had a line that was 4.5 blocks long, and it was people dropping off boxes of food.
Yes.
So I think we care about each other.
And that's what we needed to be. We needed to do. This is what needs to happen. We have to stop forgetting this divisiveness between us. But it'll go on for a little while longer, because, there's just some people that's their job in the world, to be the chaos agents. And some of us, our job is just to be the little light wherever we are, because just even a little tiny candle can produce a lot of light in a room.
We get more and more candles. We get more and more of us together.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Final thoughts on the Mercury retrograde. Let's see. Blend. Take some time for reflection. Allow the things that are transforming and evolving to do that. Don't fight those things, right? That's really important to fight that. Trust how you're feeling. If you need therapy, go get it.
How can you avoid therapists? When I'm playing games, there's this, we can talk with you and da-da-da. I mean, therapy used to be something you had to go find someone, you had to figure it out, and it took forever. And now it's just there.
Yeah. So we can just have this inner journey, which again is just part of who we are. We all have to have this inner journey, and do your best to not use fear, if you will, because I know things are tough. I mean, I don't have rose-colored glasses on. I know things are tough, but I do believe that what we're experiencing, we all have the tools to handle it in the capacity of what's going on, right?
Right.
Like, I am not directly involved with whatever's happening in Chicago, even though I have empathy for that. I'm going to pay attention to what's going on there and how does that impact me here, and make the choices here. So it just brings it just means bring it closer to home and do something with it. And that way you don't have to live in constant fear. and you're making a choice and you're doing something that matters. And that's the most any of us honestly can do.
I saw the mayor of Evanston, which is a suburb of Chicago, and I know Evanston because I had friends that lived up there.
My grandfather is from there.
Oh, really?
Evanston, yeah.
The mayor was saying that they actually, one of their people, when they started realizing the amount of organism, when they saw what was happening in other cities, that's why they were so organized. And of course, social media networks, and this includes YouTube, they all cut off all of the things that were electronically allowing people to report where ICE agents were.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
So so these neighborhoods have are teaching people how to create secret phone networks so they can help each other. And he said, we wish more than anything we didn't have to do this, but now that we know how to do it, we want to help any other part of the country that might possibly need that kind of help. And I think that's a real wake-up call to me, because Evanston was up along the lake shore, and it was it could be kind of a fussy place, but they're really digging down and helping all over the city.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's good. I like that. Good.
And for so anyway, today is election day. And we're going to cut it a little early, I think, Dorothy, since we're not getting flooded with questions like normally we do.
Yeah. I know. I'm looking at yours. Yours is here on my phone, and mine is over here. I'm doing a very Gemini
We're a lot
thing.
of hi, and I'm glad to see everybody here, and I'm glad to see you came. But I think just today is a change day, and I notice people tend to pull into themselves on change days, and I think today is going to be a real change, a real wake up call for this country.
Yeah.
And
I hope
so I want us all to wake up on a good side of things, and go look for the good side of things. And one of the best things you can do for yourself is to get a lovely chart drawn by Dorothy, so you'll know what all this stuff means.
Yeah, we can handle it. We can handle that. Yeah, today Mars and Uranus are in an opposition. It's come and gone. It was a few hours ago, but that's pretty strong. That's energizing. It's just like it's super energized.
Right.
It's like information, and it's just like turnouts, like especially in the bigger elections, like in New Jersey where my son is. There's just a lot going on there. Didn't you say there were like bomb threats? Yeah. And that's Mars Uranus opposition. People being threatening violence. There's that, but there's still a ton of people turning out, and there's some big elections. New York City, that's huge. Well, that's huge. That's going to have the biggest turnout.
I live in a state that's having it has this weird way we have to amend our constitution. So they can't vote to do amendments until we vote to say, yeah, you can amend that. So there's 17 propositions. If you don't know how to vote, go to Ballotpedia. If you're in Texas, you haven't voted yet, go to Ballotpedia. At the bottom, they have common sense language, because sometimes when you read a thing, you're going, they want me to do what?
Yeah, it's sometimes you're right. It is. It's always legalese, and it's like,
and it's always, is that a yes or a no that I'm voting for? But anyway,
that's right. It's so confusing. Yeah, I love it.
Bottom of Ballotpedia is a totally neutral site, and it's like encyclopedia but with ballot in front of it. They have a breakdown of the dispositions of the things, and there's 5 that are neutral. There's 6 that are ridiculous. One even says, we already do that. Why do they need to do that?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Somebody wants to know, can you explain what it's like for you on the other side of the world from where you were born?
Can I explain that?
My birth chart, it wouldn't matter whether I was in Joliet, where I was born, or in Dallas. What happened to me on the 14th of June would happen to me the 14th of June, even though I was in Dallas. If I'd have been in Cleveland or I'd have been in Seattle, all the planets would have been lined up against my birth chart that way. I think that's what they're asking. Do you think so?
Yeah, I know what they're asking. They're asking because there's a version of astrology called astrocartography. And it takes all the planets and it shows them where they would be if they were on the ascendant or the midheaven. which helps give you a different vibe, right?
Right.
So if you're born in one place in the world, and you move east or west matters more than north and south. So if you move, say you're born in Texas and you were to move over to the UK, there is like 6-hour difference. So the dial of your chart would be different. And so you can see that planets will influence you a little bit differently if they move from an angle and or to an angle. And so, yeah, it gives you different opportunities and different ways. People will move to different places depending on what they want to accomplish, whether it's like, I want to find my true love. Where's my Venus line on the ascendant? Only works well if your Venus is already in good condition and there aren't any hard aspects to it. Otherwise, you might find people that are just in relationships that just give you more trouble than ever. So it varies. It's not cut and dry. So it changes. The chart doesn't change like what sign and number your planets are, but it changes the dial a little bit. So there's a different focus.
Yeah, I can.
Even though you're still using, say, Venus in Scorpio, no matter what.
I have a person I read with frequently. It's Jeffrey. Who else do I read with that's in Mexico City? He lived his whole life in New York. Yeah. And his life fell apart. And, I mean, God moved him out of his apartment with a fire. I mean, that'll move you.
That'll move you.
He ended up going down to Mexico, and he got down there and he just fell in love with Mexico City. And when he had an astrocartographer do his chart, it ends up that his Venus and something else run right through Mexico City. It's perfect. No wonder
it's a good place to earn a living, and a good place to fall in love, and a good place to understand what your values are, because those are 3 of the main categories that Venus is. So my moon asked one more thing. I'm living my life on my Venus and Scorpio in the 8th. Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of lessons through finances, through money, through relationships that are money based, assets from spousal relationships, partnerships, things like that. Just in a nutshell. I can't go any deeper than that without knowing everything else.
Maybe one day we'll do a whole show on astrocartography, kind of what questions to ask and how to use it, because I'm aware it works.
Way more complicated than people think. Yeah, it really is. It's not simple.
Well,
there are websites for it.
Yep, we got a yep from my moon. So it's time to leave. My moon decided it's time for us to close.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody.
And thank you, Dorothy, for coming to visit. And we will see y'all later.
Bye, everybody.
I've got a show on Thursday with Danny. He finally broke down. He's going to come over and do psychic profiles.
Yay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.